in this video, I just really wanted to connect and talk about the importance of committing to your healing journey, and also understanding that this is a journey. If you want to change your patterns of constantly being attracted to emotionally unavailable partners, or if you are attracted to partners that are toxic for some reason, which emotionally unavailable persons, depending on where they are on the spectrum, they can be toxic and they can be narcissists and different types of, in various forms. But I wanted to share a story with you because I've been on holiday and I've been working on my mindset when it comes to setting boundaries and people-pleasing patterns in order to create the life I would like to have and the persons I would like to have in my life. Persons that don't take advantage of me and persons that treats me right. And I have worked on myself to the extent when it comes to when I attracted my partner and the relationship I'm in, I am so convinced that I worked so much on myself that I would never ever get into a relationship again where someone doesn't treat me well. It's like the slightest red flag. It just didn't matter how much I felt for that person, how emotionally invested I was. If there was a red flag and what they didn't resonate with me, I just immediately cut them off. I just knew, like, I will be sad for a while, but that's fine. I will move on, and I will find someone that suits me better. So when it comes to creating a relationship and finding a partner, I have done my work so good. I have so many boundaries in place that I know for certain I will not be in that place again. But if we get back to the part when I went on holiday this year. So I went on holiday together with my boyfriend to our summer house in Greece. I live in Sweden, I'm half Greek, so I usually go to Greece, and my dad has a house there. We call it our summer house, but really it's my dad's house because he has built it and he lives there a lot, even though he lives in Sweden. And this year all my siblings went there at the same time, and we don't really fit into that house, but we went there at the same time. And I was just staying for 2 days, traveling some and then coming back. But this was very stressful for my dad, and I understand that he has not been taught how to show emotions and talk about emotions, which I haven't either. This is something I had to work on. But he was constantly triggered and agitated by the stress of having too many people there at the same time. So he was acting out, lashing out, his aggressions, like, why did you put that there? Why did you do that? So it's not like, I'm not saying it's really, really difficult things. It's not like he was beating us up, but it was just constant reminders of whatever I'm doing, there's something wrong or there's something that could be wrong. And I just found myself waking up in the morning and thinking, like, my old thoughts from when I was a kid, like, what have I done? Is my dad upset with me? What can I do better so he doesn't lash out, so he doesn't tell me I've done something wrong? So I just entered into this pattern of people-pleasing patterns, and people-pleasing is actually a trauma response. Whether you think you have trauma or not, you do have trauma. Is experienced on an individual level. Sometimes we can block it out and we don't remember the trauma. But for me, the people-pleasing patterns is trauma from always having to adjust and not knowing what I'm doing, if it's wrong or right. So I'm trying to foresee and predict the future, that what I will do will not agitate my dad. That's how it was when I was a kid. And I found myself in these thought patterns again, and I'm like, I'm a grown-up. I'm 42 this year, and I just immediately went into the same thought patterns. And you know how long it took me to realize that I was just repeating the same patterns? It took me 2 days, 2 whole days, before I just kind of shook myself out of it, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? How can this be happening? Why am I constantly thinking about what I am doing wrong in order not to agitate him? And I just realized that this is so wrong. And I also got scared because I have done so much work on myself, but it just got obvious to me that I haven't worked on my boundaries towards my role models, towards my parents. And I have worked on boundaries when it comes to dating new persons, but not with the persons in my life. So this was just a wake-up call. I just realized after 2 days, I need to set boundaries. And now afterwards, I'm thinking I could have managed it better. I could have actually worked on expressing my feelings, but my natural trauma response is to just withdraw and don't say anything. I just close my feelings. That's my natural trauma response, which I couldn't manage to get myself out of because we were also traveling. After 2 days, so we rented a car and we traveled for we were traveling for 5 days. So we traveled away for 5 days, and we were supposed to come back after 5 days, and we didn't. So that was in some way my way of setting a boundary, but I know I could have handled it better because I should have talked about my emotions and not close them and actually say, like, when you're doing this, I'm getting stressed, I'm getting sad, I'm getting hurt because I feel like I'm not welcome here. So I should have handled it better, but the boundary I set was to not be there in order to feel those feelings. So I kind of took myself out of that situation in order to not have those feelings kind of being created in my body every day and having that stress and having me think those automatic patterns, which is truly residuing from my childhood. It's coming straight from my childhood, and I just, it's so automatic. You don't know when it's happening. It took me 2 days. I was in shock. That I couldn't realize it sooner. But that was my way of setting a boundary. It was to just not come back. I rented another place and I came back the last day when we were not all of us there. So with this video, I just want to emphasize, and if you're feeling like you're having a difficult time to set boundaries and people in your close community are triggering you, making you feel the same way over and over, please don't be hard on yourself. It's a process and it's a lifelong journey. You're never really done. The healing, when you start to work on healing your trauma from your childhood, you're never really done. New things will pop up all the time. New things will appear. So what I do want to let you know is that if you want to work on setting boundaries, and if you want to learn how to reinforce boundaries as well when someone breaks them, because it will happen. People will break your boundaries. You might tell them once that this is not okay and this is the consequences. So you will have to reinforce the boundaries. You can't just, that's the thing about boundaries, you can't just think that the other person will know. You have to tell them. So I really need to work on setting boundaries with my parents, with my role models, because I have to tell them how they make me feel, and they will have to know that if you do this, this is the result. I will do this, I will do that, I will move away. If you yell at me, I will not be here. So that's the process of setting boundaries. And actually, first step is to become aware. That's the first step. And then you need to have an action plan, what's happening. So if you want help with setting boundaries, I will link a link below here to the Ultimate Boundary Setting Planner. So it's at a rip-up price for you to grab. It's 52 pages, and I'm positive that if you work through this boundary, you will have great success when it comes to your relationship, but you do have to stay committed, and you do have to reinforce the boundaries. You need to impose the boundaries, and if someone breaks a boundary, there needs to be consequences. Otherwise, it's just in your head. So if you want to do this process together with me, because I also need to work on imposing the boundaries to my role parents. I have worked on this already when I was dating, and the person I was dating to, because I had no boundaries, and I'm really confident that those boundaries, they will stick, they will be there. I know how I want to be treated by the persons I used to date. I'm now in a relationship, and I know how I want to be treated by my partner as well. But I need to work on how I want my parents to treat me as well. So if you want to do the job as well, if you feel like it's a necessity for you to do the same work, you can go ahead and click the link. And that was everything I wanted to share with you today. I hope you're feeling great, everyone. See you soon. Bye bye.